She said, "He's just my coworker." And the way she said it was the exact moment I knew something was wrong. Not because of the words, because of the pause before them. Because of the way she didn't look at me when she said it. Because after 10 years of marriage, you learn the difference between truth and something that sounds like truth. We were standing in the kitchen, late evening. She had just come home from work, still in her office clothes, still holding her phone like she didn't want to put it down. I asked a simple question. "Who was that guy you were talking to outside the building today?" She froze for half a second. Just half. Most people wouldn't notice. I did. "Who?" "The guy in the gray suit. Tall. Dark hair." She turned to the sink, turned the water on like she suddenly needed to wash something. "Oh, him." Pause. "He's just my coworker." Just. That word again. Always just. Just a coworker, just a friend, just work, just late meetings, just tired. I leaned against the counter. "Funny," I said. "What?" "I've never heard you mention him before." She shrugged. "Because there's nothing to mention." Another lie. Not a big one, but not the first one either. And that's when I started paying attention, not arguing, not accusing, just watching. Because sometimes the fastest way to find the truth is to stop asking questions and start listening. The first thing I noticed was her phone. Always face down, always on silent, always with her, even in the shower. The second thing I noticed was her schedule. Late meetings, extra projects, weekend calls, new clients, new names. Names I never heard before, and one of them kept coming up. Daniel. Not often, just enough. Daniel asked if I could stay late. Daniel needs the report finished. Daniel says the client meeting moved. Daniel. Always Daniel. One night I asked, "So this Daniel, he your boss?" She laughed. Too fast. "No, just a coworker." Just. Again. That was the night I decided I wasn't going to ask anymore. I was going to wait. Because people who lie always forget something. And when they forget, that's when the truth shows up. It happened 2 weeks later. She said there was an office party. Mandatory. Important. Her boss would be there. Clients. Executives. Spouses invited, she said. Then added quickly, "But you don't have to come if you don't want to." I looked at her. "I'll come." She blinked. "Really?" "Yeah." For a second, she didn't look happy. She looked nervous, and that was all I needed to see. Because when your wife doesn't want you at her work party, it's usually not about the party. It's about who she doesn't want you to meet. And I had a feeling I was about to meet Daniel. She didn't want me to come. She didn't say it directly, but you don't stay married 10 years without learning how to hear the things people don't say. When I told her I was going to the party, she smiled. But it was the kind of smile you make when plans just changed and you don't know how to fix them. "Oh, okay," she said. "It'll be fun." It didn't sound like she believed that. The party was at a hotel downtown, one of those expensive places with glass walls and lights everywhere. The kind of place where people talk louder than necessary and laugh like someone important might be listening. She walked in first, confident, professional, different. At work, she wasn't my wife. She was someone else, someone sharper, someone careful. People started greeting her immediately. "Hey, you made it. Good to see you. Big week, huh?" She fit perfectly there. I stood next to her for a minute. Then someone called her name from across the room. She looked at me. "I'll be right back." She wasn't. 5 minutes later, I was standing alone near the bar, drink in my hand, watching. I like watching rooms. You learn a lot when nobody thinks you matter. That's when I saw him. Gray suit. Tall. Dark hair. Same guy I saw outside her office. Daniel. He was exactly what I expected. Confident. Loud. The kind of guy who shakes hands like he owns the place. People laughed when he talked, not because he was funny, because he expected them to. He noticed me after a minute, that quick look people do when they try to figure out who you are. Then he walked over. "Hey man, I don't think we met." I nodded. "Probably not." He smiled. "I'm Daniel." "Of course you are." I shook his hand. "Mark." His handshake was firm. A little too firm, like he was testing something. "You here with someone?" "Yeah." "Who?" I looked past him. My wife was laughing with a group near the window. "Her." He followed my eyes. And for just a second, his smile changed. Not much, just enough. "Oh." Pause. "You're her husband." Not a question, a statement, like he already knew. I nodded. "Yeah." He let go of my hand slowly. "Didn't know she was bringing you." There it was. Didn't know. Not surprised, not happy, just didn't know. "She said spouses were invited." He laughed, short, dry. "Yeah, they are." Silence for a second. Then he said it. "So, what do you do, Mark?" That question again. Always the same question. Not curiosity. Ranking. I took a sip of my drink. "Finance." He smirked. "Everyone here is finance." People around us laughed. He liked having an audience. "What kind of finance?" "Investments." He nodded slowly. "Small stuff?" More laughs. Not loud, not cruel, just enough. I looked at him. "Something like that." He smiled bigger, like he had already decided what I was worth. "Good for you, man." Then he leaned closer, lower voice. "You know, she's one of the best people on the team." I nodded. "I know." He looked at her again, then back at me. "She works late a lot." Pause. Very late. He was watching my face when he said it, waiting, looking for something. Jealousy, anger, anything. I didn't give him anything, just smiled. "Yeah." That confused him. He expected a reaction, didn't get one. That's when my wife walked over. "Hey." Her voice sounded tight. She looked at Daniel, then at me. "You guys met?" Daniel smiled. "Oh yeah." He looked at her, then back at me again. "We were just talking about work." She didn't smile. Not really. Just nodded. "Good." Silence. Awkward. Heavy. Then Daniel clapped his hands. "All right, listen up, everyone." People turned. Of course they did. He liked attention. "We're doing something fun tonight." People cheered. Of course they did. "Little game." I already knew. Games at office parties never end well. "For teams," he said. "Trivia." People laughed, groaned, grabbed drinks. He started pointing at people. You, over there." Then he looked at me, paused, smiled. You're with the junior group." Somebody laughed. "Give him a chance." More laughs. My wife looked at me. "Ignore him," she whispered. I smiled. "I am." But Daniel wasn't done. "Actually, wait." He looked right at me. "Let's make it interesting." The whole room went quiet. "If your team wins," he looked at my wife, "I'll recommend her for the promotion." People reacted, even louder. "And if you lose," he smiled at me, "you spend the rest of the night bringing drinks to our table." Laughter. Big this time. Comfortable. Confident. Like the ending was already decided. My wife grabbed my arm. "Don't." Not to him. To me. That was the moment. The exact moment. I realized something. She wasn't afraid I would lose. She was afraid I might not. I looked at Daniel, then at her, then back at him, and said, "Deal." And that's when the night really started.
She kept looking at me like she wanted the game to end before it even started. Not because she thought I would lose, because she didn't know what would happen if I didn't. We split into teams. Daniel stood with the senior group, managers, analysts, people who knew each other. I was with the juniors, young guys, nervous smiles. One of them whispered, "Man, he wins this every year." I nodded. "Good." The host started reading the questions. First one, basic market history. My team looked at each other, nobody sure. I answered, "Correct." Second question, corporate valuation. One of the juniors guessed. Wrong. I gave the number. Correct. Daniel looked at me, not smiling now. Third round, mergers. Harder. Silence. I answered again. Correct. People started turning, not laughing anymore, watching. Fourth round, global markets. Long question. Nobody spoke. I said the answer. Full answer. Year. Firm. Outcome. Correct. My team started looking at me like I wasn't one of them anymore. Daniel crossed his arms. "Okay," he forced a smile. "Let's make this harder." Of course, people like him always make it harder when control slips. Next question. Not textbook. Real deal. Old restructuring case. The kind only people inside the room would know. Silence. Daniel didn't answer. Nobody did. I said the name, the numbers, the second firm involved, the final valuation. The host stared at the card, looked up. "That is completely correct." The room went quiet. Different quiet. Daniel looked at me slowly. "Where did you say you work?" I took a sip of my drink. "I manage a fund." He smirked. "Yeah, small fund, right?" I nodded. "Private equity." Pause. "About $4 billion. Nobody laughed. Nobody moved. Daniel blinked. "What fund?" I told him. And that was the moment, because he knew the name. Everyone in that room knew the name. His face changed, just a little, but enough. "You're serious?" I shrugged. "You pitched to us 2 years ago." Silence. Heavy. My wife covered her mouth. Daniel looked like someone pulled the floor out from under him. "Wait, you're that Mark?" I nodded. "Yeah." The host cleared his throat. "Looks like the juniors win." Nobody cheered. Nobody laughed. They just stared. Because the guy they thought didn't belong owned half the deals they worked on. Daniel forced a smile. "Well, guess I owe someone a promotion." I looked at him. "You said recommendation." He nodded. "Yeah." His voice sounded different now. Careful. The party didn't feel the same after that. People kept coming up to me, shaking my hand, asking questions. Suddenly, everyone wanted to talk. Funny how that works. Daniel stayed quiet, didn't look at me much, didn't joke anymore. My wife stayed next to me the whole time, didn't leave my side, not like before. When we finally went outside, the rooftop was almost empty. Cold air, city lights below. She leaned on the railing, didn't say anything for a while. Then finally, "You never told me." Her voice was soft, not angry, not proud, just confused. I stood next to her. "You never asked." She looked at me. "$4 billion?" I smiled a little. "Give or take." She laughed, half laugh, half tears. "I spent 3 years trying to prove myself in that place." "I know. And you just stood there, letting them talk to you like that." I shrugged. "It wasn't about me." She stared at me. "Why didn't you say anything?" I looked at her. "Because this part mattered. I didn't marry them. I married you." She looked down, quiet, wind moving across the roof. "I thought you didn't understand my world." I shook my head. "I understood it better than you think." Silence. She stepped closer. "Are you mad?" I thought for a second, then said the truth. "No." "Why?" "Because tonight showed me something." "What?" "Who you stand next to when nobody knows who you are." She looked at me like she didn't know what to say. Then she leaned into me, and we stood there, quiet. No game, no boss, no crowd, just us. 2 days later, Daniel texted her, apologized, said he didn't know who I was. I showed her the message. I just smiled, because that wasn't the point. He didn't need to know. She did. 3 months later, she got the promotion, not because of me, because of her. Late nights, weekend work, everything she earned herself. One night we were driving home and she said, "You know what scared me the most that night?" "What?"
She looked at the road. "For a second, I thought you were going to let them believe you were nothing." I laughed. "I did." "Why?" "Because that was the truth. The strongest position in the room is the one nobody sees coming." She smiled and leaned her head on my shoulder. And I realized something. Some people walk into every room needing respect, needing attention, needing everyone to know their name. But the people who really have power don't need the room to notice. They just wait. And when the moment comes, the room notices anyway. And that night, it did.